This is the Roller Coaster Podcast, and I'm your host, Lucy Q. Life is a wild ride. It has twists and turns. It's scary, exciting, and downright fun. So throw your head back, arms in the air, and come along with me for the ride.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride.
During his undergraduate degree, Dr. Benjamin Ritter felt personally, professionally, and socially lost. He had put so much focus into pursuing his purpose that he failed to care about anyone or anything else. Dr. Ritter went on to combine his eureka moment with his struggles and now helps people build a life and career they love through his business, Live for Yourself. Hi, Ben.
How's it going? I
I'm
hear undergrad now, by the way. I just have to say this, and I'm like, man, that was such a long time ago.
I was going to say, well, now that you have the doctor in front of it, it would have been a few years ago.
Yeah, we had, and it's, that was, I think, the first major milestone in the roller coaster of life, and it led me to develop my life. But then I had a major roller coaster moment in my professional life, which led me down the path to where I am today. And it's interesting, if you asked me way back when, if I knew where I'd end up, it's just no idea. It's something to keep in mind, that you don't know how today is going to affect tomorrow, and it could be something completely different, but it will play an essential role.
And that's it, is I don't think any of us can look back even 2 years and guess that we will be where we are today because of all these twists and turns that happens in life. And for you, most people struggle, and myself, I struggled to find my purpose, my meaning until my mid 40s is when I began to follow that journey and figure that stuff out for myself. But you had that part figured out. But then you would think that you had the Holy
I thought I
Grail.
did.
You had the
Thought I did.
Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And it's what so many people go looking for. You had it, but then it created its own set of challenges.
If we're talking about Indiana Jones now, I feel like I picked up the wrong cup, and Boulder came after me or something.
I was drinking from the wrong cup for 45 years. So, you've definitely got a leg up on me.
Well, it's okay if you don't if you overdrink from the wrong cup. I think the problem is when you fully immerse yourself, you take a bath in it, right? So it's not just sips, you dive in, and that's what has led to, at the time, to not really having a lot of friends, to doubting myself, to not really knowing how to be confident in who I am, not having a self-identity, really just sacrificing, I think, every single second to try to achieve something, which is just so not what purpose is. It's not what it is supposed to be. And so when I lost it, when I decided it wasn't it, that I had to give up, I was left with nothing else. And I was left pretty empty in a pretty low place. And that led me to actually divorce my purpose, right? Break up with my purpose, to delete it off social media, to distance myself as much as possible from it. I like to equate it to being in a relationship with it, an unhealthy relationship with it. And for many, many years, I actually went on stage. That's kind of when I started down the personal development route, and told people the worst advice I ever heard was to find my purpose. Because I don't think we properly define what purpose should be. It becomes potentially an unhealthy obsession if we attach it to validation and success and achievement. And it distances us from what's really important in life. When your purpose is something that you create, but then it's kind of like, AI takes over the world. So what you created ends up taking over your life. It doesn't make a lot of sense why it would be on a pedestal when you're the one that gave it its power.
Do you think that comes from, it's one thing that we talk about a lot on the roller coaster, is that so many of us seem to be living this checklist of success, how you're supposed to live life. We're still trying to figure out who wrote this list, because we all seem to get to a point in our life where we say, where we wake up and we realize that we're not living that life that we want, whether it's, over pursuing your purpose for the sake of everything else, or, you know, going the route of graduate from school, you get married, you have your kids, you get your Volvo, you get your house, you work at the same job for 30 years, you retire and die. It's, when I think of purpose, I I still struggle to figure out how to put it into words, because it's not, I'm going to say it's not a thing, it's a feeling, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah. So I think we all need to relearn what purpose means to have a healthy relationship with it. And one of the first things we need to understand is, I've already mentioned, is that you create it. So you given it its power. The second thing is that it's never supposed to be enough. It's never supposed to be completed. And I think often we think, oh, I will achieve this and then I will have this. And no. Your purpose is like Santa's gift bag. It's never ending. You can always you can put your hand in and always pull out a prize, because your purpose is supposed to be something that adds to your life and creates more fun and more enjoyment, instead of take stuff away from you. And so if that's the case, then it's not something you need to achieve. It's something that you have, which is a completely different mindset from I think I had at the time, and something that I implement with my clients when I work on creating greater career satisfaction. It's this understanding that every day you wake up and you have a core set of values and a core set of issues or ideas that are important to you. And so you wake up and you live them. Like, for example, I love having conversations like this. I love having coaching and developmental conversations. I love creating and being artistic. I enjoy being open. I enjoy health. And if I wake up, I don't need a specific job. I don't need to achieve something to make those a part of my daily practice. And that's what purpose is. It's the application of your values. And too often people distance themselves from that. And instead they think, well, if I get this job, then that's purposeful. I'm happy. Which causes that stress.
Do you find that people are getting caught up in the destination rather than embracing the journey? And you touched on something there. When people get caught up in the if this, then that, when I graduate, then I'll be happy. When I get this job, then I'll be happy. When I get married, when I have this relationship, then I'll be happy. And they're not realizing it in all of these things that we encounter in life, whether it's career, relationship, education, they're journeys. There is no final destination. Well, there is. And it's the last time we close our eyes.
Yeah, and if you may not have when I achieve this in your life, one, because you may not achieve it, two, because this may be the last day you have on earth. And if we're all living for that accomplishment, we're missing out a ton of what we can enjoy today. The only reason why you can't find fulfillment from today is because you're giving away your power to something that you're trying to achieve. And so when I was working as a healthcare executive, I got to that point by reacting in my career. I was proactive at some point, but a lot of things happened that kind of, I think, crushed me a little bit. So for example, I got out of my graduate degree program. I was working for a public health agency, really passionate about making a difference in the world through policy. Federal funding got cut. They had to cut my job. I found another job taking a nationwide test and scoring as one of the highest, got a fellowship, accepted the fellowship. They canceled funding for the job. This happened 2 or 3 other times in the course of 2.5 years, and nothing else landed. It was during the time of a recession, and I wasn't as good as I am at getting people jobs as now as I was then. And I think I fell into a position through networking, which ultimately I didn't even get the job initially because the CEO found out I was bartending to make money on the side and didn't want to hire a bartender. Luckily, that person left. Someone else came in, called me back, hired me. Funny enough, the old guy came back, promoted me to be his right-hand man and executive after a few years. So funny how that's a whole different story. But I just was, I ended up just saying yes to things because I needed to say yes to things. And I ended up in a career where I felt pretty stuck because I didn't feel that it was meaningful. I thought that they were supposed to give me purpose. I didn't feel like it was the right fit. I didn't feel like I chose it. And so I became really resentful towards them. And I pulled back from work. I didn't build positive relationships. I was trying, I was 2 feet out the door. So I was kind of not burning my bridge, but in a way I was not creating skills that in relationships that would have been critical for my next role if I wanted it. So I was missing out on a lot of opportunities because I was giving my power away to the organization, to my leader. When in actuality, I was the one choosing to show up and not do certain types of work. I was the one showing up and choosing not to engage with certain people. I was the one choosing up and choosing not to feel my work was meaningful. And just along the lines of purpose, and are we giving our power away to an achievement, it is detrimental to your life. You will lose a lifetime if you don't see this as happening.
And you said something very important there, and that's choice. And I think it's easy to forget that regardless of what happens in the world around us, ultimately we always have that choice. Whether it's how we're thinking, what we believe, how we act, how we react, it comes down to a choice. And the failure of making a decision is still making a choice.
Yeah, people forget that they are their most important leader. And by default, you are acting and thinking and feeling. Like by default, you are leading yourself. But we don't take the reins to lead ourselves towards what we really care about, or what we and actually try to understand why we care about that to make sure it's the right thing. I talk about the 3 C's of self-leadership: clarity, confidence, and control, the traits that are incredibly important to taking action on towards anything you care about. And when I reflect on my past, when I had this purpose, I had a ton of control. I was dedicated. I'm a high achiever. You tell me to do something, I will get it done. I will prioritize. I can know what time it is, closing my eyes. It's like, that took 20 minutes. It's like one of those people. And that's really dangerous, because if I decide to invest in something that's not right for me, I don't spend the time understanding why it's meaningful, to understand what it means to me, or how I'm actually going to get there and really make progress and move the needle, and I don't believe in myself to be able to do it, I'm going to have a really tough time living each and every single day, because I'm investing in something that I don't feel is meaningful, that I'm not confident about, but I'm making it my life. And I think often people do that without stepping back and saying, okay, let me really understand why this matters to me.
Do you think that there's a reason why we're never taught to take the reins and take control of our own life? That it's I'm going to say the proverbial they, don't want us to know that we do have a choice, that we can take our own power back, because ultimately we're not going to be those 9 to 5ers who are punching a clock and fitting that round peg in that round hole.
More and more institutions are creating courses that relate to this topic. One of the most famous ones that I know of is the one at Stanford. I think it's Design Your Life. It's also a workbook. And younger kids are getting exposed to these ideas. We are one of the first generations to care about self-actualization. The first ones to want more than a job, a paycheck, retirement. I'm not an expert at this. This is not my area of expertise. Right? I focus on how people can use what they need or what they feel to make something happen in their life. But it's new, and we're kind of the guinea pigs. So we're messing up. And throw in the fact that we now are more connected than ever and are getting sold stories. We're getting sold purpose. We're getting sold a master class to teach us how to make 6 figures in 6 hours and leave our day job. Then, and at the same time, not getting the right education about it. It makes sense why we're all kind of a mess.
And it's I had this conversation with someone else earlier where we're being sold these lies for the profit of somebody else. It's not that ultimately everybody wants us to live our best lives and be the best that we can be. Some people have honed in on that need to find purpose and create the life that you want, and they're sort of using it in a little bit more of a negative way because they're trying to create a profit out of it, as opposed to truly helping people figure their way through this.
Well, look, I sell coaching. I'm a coach. I do corporate workshops. So technically, I'm profiting from this space. I think there's a difference between someone that is paid for followers and rented a Lamborghini behind them and is, I
Exactly.
think they're selling stuff, which is
Exactly.
different.
Yeah.
I think if you want to know who's selling snake oil, look for the person selling stuff. Selling money, selling that you will get this, you will get more money, you will get more cars, you will get a yacht, you will have a private jet. And some people resonate with that. And so they're doing it because they know you resonate with that. And some people may succeed and some people may not succeed. But is that how you want to, is that what you want to live toward?
Because
you can
again,
get that stuff and not be happy.
that's it. Is it again, if you're chasing a destination, then you're still going to be lacking that happiness that you're looking for. You're not going to get your happiness from a Lamborghini and a million followers. You can still be completely empty.
I tell people all the time that I have a great business, I'm really happy, but someone can approach me tomorrow with an opportunity that I'm interested in, and I might take it. I might make both work. Life can change in an instant. Once you understand that, as long as, if you believe in yourself enough to make anything work, that is truly freeing. And the second thing is, once you understand where happiness and fulfillment and contentment comes from, it gives you a lot of resilience. It gives you basically the ability to walk into any situation and make it work for you, which is, talk about getting rid of fear. Talk about being able to say yes to things that you never said yes before. Even just working with clients, part of crafting a career you love requires that you create a new network of individuals around you. We are 100% a product of our environment. So not only do you have to do the internal work, and you have to skill up, and you have to understand what you care about, you also need to create an environment that aligns with your values. And so many people I work with are so afraid of sending a simple message. And maybe this is you. And if this is you, you have permission to message anyone that you want, including me, Dr. Benjamin Ritter, sending me a message on LinkedIn. But we're afraid. We're afraid. Maybe I'll pick the wrong thing. Maybe this is the wrong thing. Maybe it only has to be this thing, but I'm not good enough to do it.
And that's, is that likely because there's the fear of failure? We see failure. I don't even think failure in this sense should be used, because you can't succeed unless you've tried things that didn't work. I think life would be equally boring as if everything that you ever tried, if you were bang on 100% amazing at it every single time, well, that would be pretty boring.
Going back to the idea of the purpose is never ending. That purpose is just a way for you to enjoy your daily life. That's regardless of failure or success, which is really neat. Again, this idea that you can go try something, it doesn't work out, and you learn from it, but you still enjoyed it. I'd also say, just like relationships, because my background, we didn't talk about this, is actually in relationship coaching. For 5 years was the first time that I actually got exposed to coaching as a business. Someone approached me and headhunted me and brought me into their company. People tend to forget, when they're going through a tough situation, that every relationship that ends leads to a better relationship. Same thing with the job. Every job that ends leads to a better job. If you are aware enough of what you learned from the past relationship or job, they build on one another. You learn about yourself. You learn what you like. You learn what you dislike. You learn what you need. You learn what you don't need. You start compromising. You grow. You mature. Kind of a gift for stuff not to work out.
Because it then gives us the opportunity to find what will, what opportunities are out there.
I mentor a lot of high school students and young entrepreneurs in college through like incubator programs, and I focus on leadership coaching, and a lot of them have the same question. This isn't what I thought I would feel like. I thought I would be fulfilled and unbelievably happy. And they go, you're an explorer right now, kid. Like,
you don't know what you don't know.
You're on a ship, setting sail, and your job is to get curious and enjoy the ride. People forget that. And you can do that when you're any age. You could be retiring, and if you haven't set sail, you got to go set sail. And it's that comfort with exploration, the comfort with curiosity that people are not comfortable with, which is what holds them back.
And that's one thing that we've tried to be very conscious of with our kids. They're not kids, they're adults, 19 and 22. We have two sons. And I think that we have broken that cycle that society has fed us, because we've taught our kids, first of all, don't focus on a job, don't focus on a career, look for revenue streams, do what you love and look for revenue streams. The rest will all work itself out. And if you like it, I don't care what it is, go and do it and have fun.
Just to tell you for a minute, one of the greatest ways that I've been able to have freedom in an employer when I used to work for employers, and even with myself, is to have multiple revenue streams. I never, ever felt afraid to lose a job. Multiple revenue streams and savings. If you haven't been able to save, try to create a plan right now, and even just a little bit, any little bit matters. And if you only have one job and it's overwhelming and you haven't really set boundaries, figure out how to start getting some time back, so setting some boundaries, and find something on the side that you enjoy, that you can make a little bit of money from. It will change your life. It will make you, and it's not the money. It's the proof that you can get another job. It's the proof that you can put food on the table. It's proof to yourself that you're valuable. And so in moments when you are at work and they want to do something that you don't want to do, they can't hold over your head anymore, or you can't hold over your own head that you need them.
Yes, because by having, these different revenue streams, it gives you the power to choose. Gives you the power to choose if you're going to go along with something. If you're stuck in a job and that's all that you have, then if something goes sideways, you may have to go along with some decisions that you're not comfortable with. Whereas, as you just mentioned, if you have different revenue streams, then the power is yours. It's not with your employer anymore.
Yeah, and we always have power. I talk to people, so I have, the clients that I work with are pretty, like, they're doing well for themselves. They're professionally successful, and they're just so afraid of losing their job or not having money. And I have to remind them, you have so much experience. You have a pretty good network, even though you don't recognize it. You will never have to worry again, which is such a gift, which I think, like, when we reach a certain point in our professional career, to realize that and to accept that, because ultimately we are always free, right? We always are able to choose. Going back to what you mentioned earlier, we just make up excuses to why we can't. So these types of activities help take away those excuses.
So how is it that you help people plan the life that they want, the career that they love?
Yeah, most of the clients I work with are stuck at work. They feel like they should be doing more with themselves, and they don't know what that is. They have reached the title of leader, but they don't believe that they're a good leader, or they think they need to be doing more or learn more. So there's a sense of lack. And so when we work together, what we really need to start doing is creating a vision on what they want to achieve in life and why they care about the work that they want to do or what their goals are. And so what you're doing is you're really focusing on creating a foundation of clarity. So diving into it, to exploring, defining, and aligning their values. As I said, it's not about achievements, it's about values. Seeing where those values align and misalign in their life. Planning for the future, getting a clear vision of what they're working towards, and comparing where they're at to where they want to go and what's off. The next steps are about building confidence to ensure they can actually take action, they feel good about themselves. So attacking that inner critic and strengthening that inner champion. They're reframing beliefs and a variety of other activities. And then it's about prioritizing that information into their life. So who are they hanging out with that serves them? Who are they hanging out with that doesn't serve them? How can they network to build a community that relates to what they want to achieve? And then if it has to do with getting a new job, I have the hard skills. So the resume, the LinkedIn profile, the cover letter, etc., to ensure they have the toolkit to make sure that people understand their brand.
So what would be the first, if somebody's recognizing that they're in a place of their life that they're stuck and they want to make that, they know they want to make a change, they just don't know what change to make or how to do it. What would you recommend is that first baby step just to begin the journey of change?
Every single day, tell yourself that you are the most important leader in your life. Every single day. I just hosted a workshop about self-leadership, and I went through an activity that compared what people saw as motivating leadership and what people saw as demotivating leadership. And very often, what we do is we have the demotivating leader in our brain. So who are we hanging out with every day? We're hanging out with that really annoying, negative leader that makes us feel like we can't do anything with our lives. And so it's about accepting the fact that you need to be your best leader. You need to be the motivating leader, and that you need to accept that responsibility and accountability. And once you can do that, you can start actually taking action. So if you're at work, what things drain you? What things energize you? Minimize the drain, maximize the energize. And sometimes we can't get rid of the stuff that drains us. So when we do something that drains us at work, we sandwich it with things that energize us. And we take also some time off and create buffers around it as well. So what we're doing is we're starting to curate a life that brings us more energy, that brings us more joy. And with that, we can do a lot more. We can take a lot of steps forward.
Ben, you have a lot of tools and resources that can help people. What is the best way for them to connect with you?
So go to liveforyourselfconsulting.com, spend about 5-10 minutes browsing around the website. You can check out the podcast, the YouTube channel. There's some other content there as well. There's a free guide that you can download to creating a career that you love. If you want to continue the conversation, connect with me on LinkedIn, Dr. Benjamin Ritter. I post throughout the week, but every Friday I post a Fearless Friday, a little tidbit on self-leadership for everyone as well.
If you're looking at connecting with Ben, make sure you check out the show notes. I'm going to have all of the links to connect in there. And thank you so much for joining me today.
It was a super pleasure. I went down the roller coaster. I didn't throw up. First time. Might have blacked out on the loop-de-loop, but we're at the end. I'm looking forward to checking out the pictures.
Are you going for a second ride?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roller Coaster Podcast. Want to chat or share your ideas about today's show? Pop me an email at hello@therollercoasterpodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at The Roller Coaster Podcast. Our theme song, Roller Coaster, was performed by The Lucky Setback. Audio editing by the one and only Jeff Quigley of Quigley Creative.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 ride. Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 ride. Roller coaster. ride.